Coming up on News 2, the Senate Committee on Rules and Judiciary are continuing confirmation hearings this week on St. Thomas for cabinet nominees. An update. Meanwhile, former judge and AG designee Soraya Diasi-Kofeld announced in a recent conference she would champion a movement to fight corruption and is now announcing a website as well as an online petition. Also, police ask for your help as they investigate a carjacking, rape, and burglary. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, the governor's financial team testified before senators Thursday, painting a bleak picture of the VI's finances. However, they have been working to identify solutions to help bridge the budget shortfall. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
The territory is sinking deeper in debt. Finance officials testified before senators Tuesday and said the government's fiscal year 2015 deficit is more than $130 million. Last week, Governor Kenneth Mapp outlined a number of measures his administration plans to take to cut costs. One of those includes using VINGN's broadband network recently developed.
Government agencies that are using private ISPs to access the internet and to connect with government agencies has also been directed to immediately get with the Bureau of Information Technology and VINGN and to get their IP and internet service and connectivity on the VINGN platform.
BIC officials said previously the switch from other local internet service providers or ISPs would save the government more than 80% of its internet costs. That's a drop in the bucket, though, when it comes to the territory's deficit. Switching the government's internet carrier is only one of a number of initiatives being implemented by the Matt Potter administration to cut costs. The governor's finance team told senators they're also considering other measures. That plan includes cutting energy costs, limiting travel, and reducing rental costs. Those things by themselves would not be able to bridge the budget deficit, and Acting Finance Commissioner Valdemar Collins says revenue-generating proposals are needed. He laid out measures for senators that included a graduated income tax surcharge of 10%, a vehicle mileage tax, a sales tax on internet transactions, going after the customs duties that haven't been coming to the VI, and changing the health insurance employer-employee premium ratio. Erica Parsons, News 2.
News 2 was unable to speak with BIT or financial officials before news time. News 2 will keep you updated. The Senate Committee on Rules and Judiciary, they're continuing confirmation hearings this week on St. Thomas for cabinet nominees. Education Commissioner designee Dr. Sharon McCullum and Personnel Director nominee Milton Potter are both scheduled to appear before senators on Thursday. All nominees have to complete and return a background package before they're called to testify. So far, the governor has appointed 16 cabinet members. The first round of hearings began last week.
Notices will also be sent to the general public in the near future regarding the nominations of the Licensing and Consumer Affairs Commissioner nominee, the Department of Human Services Commissioner nominee, the Department of Sports, Parks, and Recreation Commissioner nominee, and the Director nominee for the Internal Revenue Bureau, which are all slated to be heard on the island of St. Croix next week, Wednesday and Thursday.
Governor Kenneth E. Mapp and Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter have worked together to identify members of the community to serve on the Water and Power Authority Governing Board and the Board of Governors of the Virgin Islands Port Authority. Nominees for the Virgin Islands Port Authority Board are Mr. Hugh Pemberton for the District of St. Croix, Mr. Michael Watson for the District of St. John, and Ms. Shirlene Taylor for the District of St. Croix. Governor Mapp appointed Commissioner-designee Gustav James to serve on the WAPA Board. Former Judge Soraya Diasi-Kofeld is making good on her promise to fight local corruption. On Tuesday, she announced the creation of a website to help fight that war. That website is www.justicevi.org, and on it, Kofeld is calling for a Department of Justice independent of the governor's control. She said the Attorney General, who heads the Justice Department, should be elected and not appointed if it represents the best interests of the people. Kofeld, in her fight, is lobbying for an independent Inspector General's office as well, and she's created an online petition for residents to sign. Meanwhile, Governor Kenneth Mapp will join the nation's governors as they gather in Washington, D.C. for the National Governors Association winter meeting to discuss priority issues affecting states and territories and share innovative best practices to address some of the nation's most pressing challenges. During this forum, meetings will include economic competitiveness, manufacturing, trade and investment, innovation, and emerging issues, workforce education, health, wellness, and energy, natural resources. On Friday and Saturday, the National Governors Association meetings will begin while the governor is out of the territory. Meantime, the Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter will serve as acting governor. Meanwhile, Governor Mapp received Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and his wife Elaine Chao, former Secretary of Labor, at Government House in St. Thomas last Sunday. The Majority Leader stated his inclination to continue to be an advocate for USVI issues. Governor Mapp said issues such as customs and border patrol operations and its effects on our business affairs, the delayed issuance of Army Corps of Engineer permits, the level of infrastructure and transportation funding for our schools and roads. Senior McConnell stated he and his wife chose the Virgin Islands for their honeymoon 22 years ago. He says we continue to return to St. John and the territory on a regular basis and see the values here. And he also added help is on the way for the centennial celebration in 2017. Now, Governor Mapp will be meeting with the Majority Leader in his office next week during that governor's meeting in Washington, D.C. Senior District Court Judge Raymond Finch on Tuesday sentenced Caleb Webster, 32 years of age, of St. Thomas, to 10 years in prison. On August 5, 2013, Webster pleaded guilty to conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. Court records indicate on February 27, 2012, Webster and his girlfriend, during inspection at the baggage area at St. Croix Rolson Airport, a search of Webster's checked bag by CBP officers yielded a black plastic bag covered with clothing and aluminum foil, along with 15 rectangular-shaped objects wrapped in plastic, and 6 rectangular-shaped objects were found in Webster's carry-on bag and several in the girlfriend's bag. They were analyzed and confirmed to contain 36.32 kilograms of cocaine. St. Croix police are investigating a carjacking that happened early Tuesday. The victim walked into the police station and reported that he and a lady friend were sitting in his car close to Rhythms when another car pulled up behind them. According to the victim, 2 masked gunmen dressed all in black demanded that he and his passenger get out of the car and then drove off in both cars. When they complied, the stolen vehicle is a 2013 red 4-door Ford Focus, license plate number CEQ 636. The victim and his passenger were not hurt. Meanwhile, St. Thomas police recovered an unlicensed gun in a stolen car. Officers spotted a vehicle Monday afternoon that had been reported as stolen. They stopped to question the 22-year-old driver, identified as Javon Benjamin. The police searched the car and Benjamin, who was carrying an unlicensed gun in his pants. Benjamin was charged with using a vehicle without authorization and possession of an unlicensed firearm. A St. Croix woman says someone got into her Mutual Homes apartment and stole her cell phone chip. The victim told police she fell asleep around 11 Sunday night after locking only the bottom lock of her door. She woke up around 2 a.m. and screamed when she realized the black male was in her bedroom in all black with a mask over her face. She said the suspect walked out of the apartment, leaving the front door open. The victim told police that it's possible the man got into the apartment by using the key that may have been left in the door. The victim was not hurt, and the key hasn't been found. Turning our attention overseas, President Obama called a diverse group to the White House on Wednesday to focus on how to prevent young people from being pulled into terrorist groups and carrying out violent attacks. The White House Summit on Countering Violent Extremism is highlighting the efforts of 3 U.S. cities, Los Angeles, Boston, and Minneapolis. Some of the nations involved in coalition airstrikes against ISIS targets in Iraq and Syria will attend another day of summit talks tomorrow at the State Department. Keeping our eye on the economy, here's the stock market watch. The Dow down 17, NASDAQ up 7, S&P also down. Coming up on News 2, time for our Black History quiz. Who came up with products that could be made from peanuts, such as cooking oil, dyes for clothing, plastics, fuel for cars, and peanut butter. We'll be right back. Time for a moment in Black history. As you know, February is the month we recognize Black History Month. George Carver was born in 1864 on a small farm in Diamond Grove, Missouri. His mother, Mary, was a slave. One night, slave raiders came and stole George and Mary from their owners, the Carvers. The Carvers went searching for them, but only found George left by the side of the road. The Carvers took care of George and his brother, James, like their own. A teacher of his suggested he combine his love for science, art, and plants and study to become a botanist, one who studies plants. George enrolled in Iowa State to study botany and was the first African-American student there. He earned a bachelor's and master's degree in science and became the first African-American to teach there. George then moved to Tuskegee to head up the agricultural department. Carver began to come up with products that could be made from peanuts, such as cooking oil, dyes for clothing, plastics, fuel for cars, and peanut butter. Farmers were able to rotate their crops and get more production from their land. George sadly died on January 5, 1943, after falling down the stairs at his home. Congress named January 5th as George Washington Carver Day. Well, taking a look in our Caribbean Roundup, at least 16 people were killed early Tuesday in the Haitian capital after a man on top of a musical group's carnival float was shocked by high voltage wires above the street, setting off a panic in which dozens of people were trampled. The accident occurred as thousands of people filled the streets of downtown Port-au-Prince for the annual celebration. Video from the scene showed sparks coursing from the wire after a singer from the Haitian hip-hop group Barakid crew was jolted by the overhead power line as the float passed beneath it. The cable appeared to have shocked several others as well. Prime Minister Evans Paul said 16 people were confirmed dead and 78 were injured. Paul declared 3 official days of mourning for the impoverished Caribbean country. The crew of a Coast Guard helicopter medevaced a 13-year-old boy from the Norwegian Getaway cruise ship Monday afternoon, approximately 90 miles northwest of Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. The boy, a U.S. citizen from New York, required medical attention ashore. The cruise ship was transiting from Miami to the island of St. Martin when the incident was reported to the Coast Guard. A crew aboard a MH-65 Dolphin rescue helicopter arrived on scene, and the crew deployed their rescue swimmer to the Norwegian Getaway to assess the patient's condition. The boy, his mother, and a cruise ship doctor were hoisted aboard the aircraft via the helicopter's rescue basket. We'll turn our attention back at home. Hundreds of high school students on St. Thomas got to attend Wrap It Up, which is a national campaign by the television network BET that aims to raise awareness on sexuality, HIV, AIDS, and other issues faced by adolescents. The campaign was brought down to the Virgin Islands by then Ken student Karish Robles, who is now a teacher at Ken High School. The Wrap It Up campaign has been popular among local high schoolers who got to listen to BET artists share their own experience.
You're pregnant. I said, no, ma'am. My management at the time, I'm crying. I'm like, I'm pregnant. He said, okay. He said, well, look, you got 2 options. You can either stay here and sing or go home. I said, well, no, I want to stay. He said, no, I don't think you understand. This is an evolving industry. They're not going to accept me pregnant. I'm 18. I'm pregnant, and I am making a grown-up, life-changing decision to save a life I know nothing about, that I never was ready to receive.
And Arthur Richard School's 7th grader is the top speller on St. Croix. Kane Donawa beat out 19 other spellers Friday to win the district spelling bee. It was an intense competition going down to the wire with words like persimmon, expurgate, haku, and disquietude for the final 6 competitors. The 2 finalists were Thais Jacobs from Church of God of Holiness Academy and Donawa. Jacobs misspelled remittance and Donawa correctly spelled venerate to take the championship. The 6 finalists will represent the St. Croix district in the Territorial B on March 13th on St. Croix. Congratulations to all the students. Be sure to stick around. Your News to AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.